Good morning. Happy Monday. We're going to go ahead and wait a couple minutes, see if everybody gets here. Make sure to let us know if you're here. We can't usually see it, to be honest with you. If any comments come in, I've been noticing in real time, I always catch them after. But let us know if you're on. Today's going to be a little bit different today. I'm going to grab my water. Some blue to talk about. Maybe you can too. All right, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So I just wanted to let you know that we're gonna do something like I mentioned a couple seconds ago, something a little bit different this morning. We're going to slow it down and we're gonna give you a really good stretching routine for you to do. So Andrew's here again this morning, as you can see. So we're gonna be giving you a couple different versions of of each muscle group, so to speak. So one is gonna be standing, one's gonna be lying down on their back. So you're gonna follow along on what works best for you. But a big part of working out in the fitness world is soreness and making sure that you're warmed up properly and that you're warmed down properly. So what I always like to tell people when it comes to stretching, and I mentioned this early on in these fitness workouts, is you never want to stretch cold. So for many of us, it's really, really great to wake up in the morning and maybe spend a couple minutes warming up the bodies. But what you want to do is you want to treat yourself with an active warm-up, much like we've been doing with these workouts so far. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through an active warm-up routine. So we're going to pretend that you haven't worked out, okay? So we're going to do an active warm-up. We're then going to go ahead and we're going to each demonstrate a couple of exercises as far as stretches go per muscle group. But if you're feeling any of the workouts or just based on soreness you have, Andrew mentioned this on the very first workout we did, is that we have Deep Blue here in the studio, and if you're not aware of Deep Blue, you need to be aware of Deep Blue. So this is something that we keep here, and it's for muscle soreness, joint issues, and it's basically the essential oil version of Icy Hot. So we keep this here for everybody as they need it, and if you're feeling something, if you wake up and you find that you're stiff, it might not be a bad idea to, if you have some with you, grab some, put it on your low back, on your hamstrings, muscular-wise where you need it, and then dive into your active warm-up, and then dive into your stretches, okay? So we're gonna start off with demonstrating a few of the active warm-ups we've already done, but I wanna dive a little bit deeper into the inchworm that we did last week, and then from there, we'll dive into the actual stretches. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So we're gonna go into some ski jumps. So let's say you just roll out of bed or you just finished your workout. Even if you just worked out, you wanna start warming down the body, okay? So what I mean by that is you don't wanna immediately stop and start stretching, okay? So warm down to be doing some of these ski jumps. So again, as I preached for the last several weeks, you're just getting a nice range of motion. You can go up to your toes if you want. You're sitting back on your heels, come forward. Good. We're then going to switch into some side lunging and some like good morning with the arms. So instead of going forward, you're going to step to the side and up, step to the side and up. I'll have you scoot a little bit more this way. That way they can see you. But just get your arms going in the opposite direction. Good. You should feel both legs evenly here, okay? You're not leaning, we're not lunging, that's coming up. But find a breathing pattern, okay? Now, if you find that you have issues with your shoulders or your knees, then just change your range of motion. Maybe as high as you can go is here. That's great. You just listen to your body. And now we're gonna dive into those inchworms, okay? Inchworms are a great thing to work through stretching everything in the body. So what you do is you reach towards the ceiling, you forward fold, okay? Now, you can hold here. If you've got super tight hamstrings, you can hold here. Okay, spend a couple seconds, let your head hang. You then walk your hands out. Now, if you have low back issues, this plank might be as far as you go. If you can sink back and sink lower into that low back, this feels great. Spend a couple seconds here. tuck your toes back under, walk your hands back, pause here if you need to, and then come back up and stretch towards the ceiling. Head back down, pause a couple seconds, walk your hands forward, sink your hips if you can. If not, a plank is fully acceptable. And then walk yourself back. So you can see that that is warming up the body, and you're going to start feeling some things, especially in the hamstrings. One more time, and then we're going to move into our stretching class today. Come up, stretch, maybe a little bit of side bending. I'm going to go ahead and just check to see how everything's going this morning. Good morning, Betty. Happy to see you back. Happy to see you. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to do a standing version. I'm going to do exercises that are standing. Andrea's going to move to the floor. So you're going to choose which version you want to do. Actually, let's go ahead and do the hip flexors. Okay. We're both going to do the hip flexors. And then from there, we'll move into the standing and floor work. Hip flexors tend to be an issue whether you know it or not. So I'm going to do a version to the side. Andrea's going to do a version forward. What you're going to do, if you need to, grab something to go underneath your knee. So I'm going to grab a little bit of a cushion. You can roll up a towel or a blanket, so something that you have close by. And what you're going to do, your back knee is going to go on that cushion, okay? What you do is you have one leg forward. Hands are going to be on the hips. What you're going to do is you're going to lean forward, okay? So you're going to bring your body forward, and you're going to tighten that back leg's glute, okay? So you want to tighten it, and you should feel a pull of the hip flexor. If you don't feel a pull, then you're doing something wrong. Let me just say that. Everybody has tight hip flexors because we walk all day, we take stairs, we're chasing kids. So you should feel a nice pull here. You can also add some side bending in this position to deepen it, if you're brave enough. You just want to make sure when it comes to stretching that you actually breathe, okay? It's really easy to hold our breath. Again, sink and tighten that back leg's glute. Good, switch legs. And hinge forward a little bit more, tighten the glute, feel the pull. And breathe. Hip stretch. If you stop feeling it, more than likely you've stopped contracting the glute. Good. So let's go ahead and we're going to move to what I call the figure four. So if you're going to stand, you're going to follow me and you're going to find a wall, okay, or some place where you can still watch what I'm doing. If you want to lay on your back and give your upper body a break and you don't have back issues, move to the floor like Andrea, okay? So what you're going to do is your ankle is going to go over the opposite leg's knee, okay? So you can see it's a figure four. You then are going to sink into it. Andrea is having a same sort of thing, ankle over knee, and she's supporting her leg behind the hamstring. Where you should feel this is right in the glute, okay? Right in the lateral rotators of the hip. And you're going to notice that I'm just sinking down, like I'm sitting in a chair. I'm imagining that I have a chair here. You don't want to be too far forward. You should be able to wiggle the toes of your planted leg. And Andrea, what she's doing is she's trying to keep her upper body pretty relaxed. Even though she's pulling behind the thigh, she's definitely wanting to just make sure she's not too tense to the shoulders and traps. Good, go ahead and come up if you're following me, or switch legs if you're following Andrea. Ankle over the other knee, and sit down into it. This is another one that always feels good, that you forget about.
Totally. You don't realize how tight you are.
You don't.
You do it.
So if you're standing, another cue that I like to tell people is imagine that you're trying to draw this knee that's bent towards the ground. So you'll notice if I do this and I slightly press it down, you feel it more intensely. And it might shift where in the hips and in kind of the low back area that you're feeling it. But it's mainly a glute stretch. It's kind of the safest way to describe it to you. All right, go ahead and release it. We're gonna go into quads. Quads are the front of the thigh, okay? If you're standing, what you're doing is you're using your wall again. If you can, you're gonna support your ankle or your shoe, or maybe you're wearing pants, and you're going to bring your knees together, okay? And you're going to press down into the hand that you're holding, and you're going to slightly tuck that pelvis under more. If you're following Andrea, you'll notice that she's side lying, and she's doing the same idea, but relaxing through the upper body even more. And she's just gently pulling her leg back further to deepen the stretch here. Again, you want to breathe. So breathe in the nose, out the mouth. Good, go ahead and release, shake out the legs. Same thing on the other side. If you're feeling like you have more stability, you do not have to use the wall. Again, you want to draw your knees towards each other, okay? And then I'm pretending that I'm pressing down with the top of my foot into my hand to deepen the stretch here. I'm sorry?
All this stretching just feels very calm.
It does. It's a little bit of a different drill.
Yeah.
A little bit more mindful this morning. If you have any questions as we're going along about this, feel free to pop them into the comments, and if I don't answer them in real time, I'll go back and answer them. But you should only feel the quad. So each exercise that I'm showing you, you should only feel that muscle group. If you're feeling other things, something is off. Okay, so that's always a really good thing to pay attention to. Good, go ahead and release. Shake out the quads. We're now going to move to hamstrings, okay? I always like to start with the hips because that tends to be the channels that opens up a lot of the single muscle groups. So that's why we started with the hips. We then went into the glutes. We then did quads. We're now going to do hamstrings, the back of the thigh. So if you're standing, what you're going to do is you're going to put one foot in front of the other, and you're going to lift that foot's toes, okay? So you're this way. You then are going to hinge from the hips. Imagine that you're sitting back in a chair, okay? You're tipping forward, okay? And you will feel, because your toes are lifted, you'll feel a stretch here, as well as down through your calves, okay? Depending on how tight your calves are, you might feel your calves more than the hamstring, but you're basically feeling the back of the leg. If you're Andrea, you're going to come all the way down to your back, okay? She's going to tuck her knees in towards her chest. Both knees, I'll have you do both knees. Okay. And then she's going to extend one up towards the ceiling and support it behind your thigh, okay? The other foot is hitting the ground, and she's just going to gently pull here. Now, if her hamstrings are more flexible today or just in nature, she's going to work her hands up towards her ankles for a deeper stretch, where she can pull a little bit more. And then if you're really wanting to intensify it, you straighten out that other leg, okay? And you just want to breathe. You want to breathe in the nose, out the mouth. Now, with this exercise, if you're feeling your knee of this leg that's not straight, more than likely you have too much pressure on your toes. You want to have those toes lifted and sit more on the heel. That'll transfer it more to the hamstring. But you should primarily be feeling the straight leg. Good, go ahead and come up. Quick shake. Switching sides. Again, you come forward. You lift the toes, you sit back, and you stretch. Now, another good cue to have is, especially when you're on the ground, if you're going and you're pulling and you find that you have the shakes, you're stretching too far. So that means you just need to release that range of motion a little bit. You should not have the shakes, okay? You're working on that spring a little bit too much this morning. should not feel your back. If you're feeling your back, you're rounding out too much. Have the shoulders back. Good, go ahead and come up, shake out the legs. So we're gonna move on to the back officially. So the upper back and the low back. So what that looks like is if you're Andrea, you're following Andrea on the floor, she's going to hold on to the bottoms of her feet, okay, and keep the bend in her knees and allow her shoulders to round out, okay, so she's going to lift her toes up, okay. If you're standing, your palms are going away from you, and you're going to round out your back this way. Now what I like to find too, if you're standing, you don't want to be shrugging your shoulders, okay? You want your shoulders down, you're pressing away, and you'll notice that I tighten my glutes, okay? I'm a big hewer on that, and it changes that posterior tilt of the pelvis. So you're essentially isometrically working below the belly button. So you get some ab work while you're stretching the back. Now, if you happen to be doing this, let's say you're outside and you're at a park and you want to take a couple minutes to stretch, what you can do if you have a tree or if you have a pole or the monkey bars, like here I have a column, you can literally too hold on to something and stretch this way. So if you have a column in your house, this is another great opportunity and another great option to stretch. You almost feel it more. And then if you're Andrea, if you're finding that you're not feeling it, what you do is you just eventually start straightening out your legs more. Okay? You'll find it also transfers to the hamstrings, but you should be able to get that rounding sensation. Good. Go ahead and come up. Shake out the arms, roll the shoulders a little bit. We're now going to go into shoulders. Shoulders, whether you're seated or not, it's up to you. You're just going to do whatever's comfortable with your legs. Okay? So if you're sitting, you can cross your legs, you can have them in front of you. You're literally going to bring in both exercises, your arm across your body, supporting it at your elbow, okay? So what that looks like, you're not gonna shrug your shoulders. It's really easy just to think of pulling. You're gonna drop and dip that shoulder down as if you have on a neck brace, okay? So you'll notice from here, I drop, and you're just gently pulling your elbow closer towards your chest. And you should feel a nice stretch along the back of the shoulder towards the front. And just breathe. Now, if you have shoulder issues or you've had a surgery on your shoulders, you always want to make sure, even if that is not your story, that you're not pulling so much because there is a difference between good pain and bad pain. So if you know for you, you intuitively can dial into your own body and say this is too much, you just release it a little bit, okay? Go ahead and drop the arms, shake it out, switch sides. Support at the elbow, drop that shoulder, okay? And just pull across the body, pull towards you. Do you find that you feel one side more than the other?
I do. This one's a lot easier for me. This shoulder's always very tight.
Is it interesting you find
Yes.
that? Here's just kind of a little side note while you're doing this. For some people, when they're exercising, look at what hand is your dominant hand, and usually it's your opposite leg that's dominant. And that's an important thing to remember if you go, gosh, my left feels stronger. Well, if you're left-handed by nature, usually it's your right leg. Because think about it, when you walk or when you run, everything is in opposites. So nothing is really off limits when it comes to stretching or working out. Good, one release. We're now going to work through the chest. So a couple of versions when you're on the ground. I'm going to have Andrea start with just putting her hands behind her back. And what you imagine is that you're squeezing your shoulder blades together, okay? What I like to tell my people is while you're stretching one side of the body, you're contracting the opposite, okay? So I'll be stretching the chest. Same with a push-up, right? When you're going down, you're stretching the chest, but you're contracting and squeezing the shoulder blades. This is the same idea. So she's putting her hands right along her low back. Her elbows are drawing towards each other, okay? So if you can kind of see from here. If you're standing, you can interlace your hands. Shoulders are up, back, and down, and get a good stretch from here. Now, the other option for the floor is actually placing your hands on the ground, okay, and then arching your chest up. Imagine you have a string in both versions that's pulling your chest forward. Okay, so she's opening up to the chest, she's allowing her neck to follow the alignment, and then again, breathe. You might even find that it's comfortable to slowly and easily drop your neck to each side, maybe roll it in a semicircle. Good, go ahead and slowly release. Shake out the arms, roll the shoulders. Bicep and tricep, okay? Bicep, if you're seated like Andrea, all you're gonna do is you're gonna bring your arm out in front of you, use your other hand to slowly press down your fingertips. So your palms up, gently pull your fingers back, okay? And you'll feel a stretch here. If you're standing, it sounds kind of crazy, you're gonna find your wall. You're gonna make the okay sign. Okay, you're gonna make the okay sign. What you're gonna do is you're gonna place that circle along the wall, and then you're going to lean away from the wall. Okay, so you want it to be right about shoulder height, and you're gonna find you get a nice pull right along the bicep, the upper arm. And you just hold and breathe. Good, go ahead and slowly release, shake out that arm. You always want to slowly come out of it. You don't want to snap out of it. Same thing on the other side. So if you're doing the left hand if you're down on the floor, left hand if you're standing, make the okay sign. Place that circle right there on the wall and walk away. Make sure you breathe. Slowly relax the arms, shake them out. Tricep, back of the upper arm. You're just either standing or seated, the same drill. You bring an arm overhead, okay? You drop and bend at the elbow, and you slightly press down with the other hand, okay? So you're gonna notice here that my hand is along my spine, and if I gently push down on that elbow, I feel a stretch right here. Now, if for some reason you have limitations and you can't do this stretch, you can go back to stretching the back. And it's the idea with each of these exercises, I should have cued this earlier, is each time you inhale, take a deep breath in, and each time you exhale, if you can, you gently press a little bit more into each stretch. Okay, it's the idea that you're going to gain even just a couple millimeters with each exhale. Good, go ahead and come up, relax the arms, roll the shoulders a minute. Same thing on the other side. Arm goes up, bend at the elbow, gently press down. Slowly release. Shake out the arms. Do we feel like now we can just go karate chop something?
Ready to go.
Right? Just ready to go. So go ahead and take a breath, grab some water. How are we feeling? How are we feeling? Do you have any questions about any of the stretches? Good morning, Aisha.
Hi, Aisha.
Yeah, see, there's Andrea. She's saying hi to you too. So here's an idea as far as stretching goes. How often should you stretch? How long should you stretch? That obviously was a longer segment. If you have that amount of time, that's great. If you don't, once you kind of finesse what each stretch is supposed to be doing and how it's supposed to be working, you're going to be able to downsize that amount of time. In a perfect world, you only stretch 30 to 45 seconds of each thing, and you can quickly move from one to the other. That's why we wanted to give you two versions. So if you want to do everything on the floor because it feels good to kind of roll through your back and be down on the ground, great. But some people have limitations from knees and hips and back. So that's why if you want to stand and do your stretching, you can do it that way as well. You just want to make sure that you try to incorporate it at least once a day. Now that's really easier said than done because it's such a short amount of time that you think you can just skip it. But it really does help prevent injuries happening, especially if you start to incorporate the fitness lifestyle that we've been talking about for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So do you have any questions, anybody? Anything that we need to help you with? Any issues that you have going on? If you don't want to message it or throw it out here on the feed, you can also private message me too, and I can answer any questions that you have. But if not, we hope all of you have a really great morning. We have one more workout in store for you next Monday, the last day before the end of the cleanse. So I haven't even told you what's up. So I don't know if I will tell her. It might be more fun if I don't tell her what's planned on the very last one. But if you don't have any questions, then we'll plan on seeing you next week. Have a great one. Talk to you soon.